This is New York City today, a vertical forest of glass and silicon, pulsing with the digital heartbeat of the 21st century. But to understand the soul of this metropolis, we must peel back the layers of time, stripping away the steel skeletons of Hudson Yards and the neon glare of Times Square. We are descending 140 years into the past, into a city that was not yet a superpower, but a volatile, glittering, and grimy experiment in human ambition. As our digital reconstruction resolves, the year is 1885. The air, once filtered by high-altitude HVAC systems, is now thick with the acrid scent of anthracite coal smoke and the omnipresent, earthy aroma of horse manure. Through the lens of our AI, trained on thousands of period stereographs and intricate Sanborn fire insurance maps, we witness the Gilded Age blooming in all its polarized glory. The term Gilded was a warning coined by Mark Twain. It suggested a thin layer of gold leaf, masking a base metal of poverty and corruption. In this era, New York was a city of impossible peaks and terrifying valleys. On one hand, we see the Gold Coast of Upper Fifth Avenue, where the Vanderbilt family erected limestone chateaus that rivaled the palaces of European royalty. On the other, just a few miles south, lies the dark, damp labyrinth of the Five Points, where the sun rarely touched the cobblestones, and the American dream was often suffocated by the sheer density of the slums. By analyzing 19th century engravings and point cloud data from surviving masonry, we have revived this lost world. This is not just a history lesson. It is a forensic reconstruction of the greatest social divide in urban history. Prepare to step onto the Belgian blocks of a city that was reinventing what it meant to be human. To find the heartbeat of Gilded Age New York, we must begin where the world met the shore. If we were standing at the Battery in the mid-1880s, the first thing to hit you would not be the sight, but the sheer, cacophonous wall of sound. This is the Upper Bay, the city's great blue artery. Through our digital recreation, we have mapped the street of ships along South Street, where a literal forest of masts from tall-masted schooners and square riggers creates a jagged wooden canopy over the waterfront. The air here is a thick, swirling cocktail of global commerce. The briny tang of the Atlantic, the heavy scent of Barbados sugar, the earthy musk of raw tea from China, and the choking soot of the new steam tugs that weave through the harbor like aggressive iron beetles. Every square inch of the pier is a chaotic symphony. You would hear the rhythmic thud of crates hitting timber, the braying of overworked dray horses, and a polyglot roar of Irish, German, and Italian dock workers, the muscle of the Gilded Age, heaving the world's wealth onto the cobblestones. By analyzing high-resolution lithographs from the period, we've been able to reconstruct the specific geometry of these wharves. Notice the bowsprits of the great ships. They actually overhang the street, nearly poking into the second-story windows of the counting houses. This was a city that did not just trade with the world, it was physically entwined with it. But as we move just a few blocks inland, the frantic energy of the docks undergoes a chilling metamorphosis. We cross into the engine, the financial district. Here, the mud and the shouting are replaced by the cold, imposing silence of granite and marble. This is Wall Street, the boardroom of the American Empire. In our digital model, the towering presence of Trinity Church still dominates the skyline, its neo-Gothic spire acting as a vertical anchor for the neighborhood. But beneath it, a new kind of architecture is emerging, the prototypical office building. We see the Equitable Building and the Western Union Telegraph Building, structures that used the first elevators to defy gravity. These are the cathedrals of capital. Inside these hushed halls, men like J.P. Morgan and Jay Gould are translating the physical chaos of the docks into abstract power. The air here smells of expensive cigar smoke and old paper. The only sound is the rhythmic, metallic clack, clack, clack of the stock ticker, a technological heartbeat that synchronized the city's ambition. This was the era where the modern financial system was coded into existence. We have used point cloud data from surviving 19th century facades to ensure that every lintel and cornice in our recreation reflects the architecture of authority. The engine was built on a singular premise, that the grit of the harbor could be refined into the gold of the boardroom. But as the wealth flowed upward into the pockets of the merchant class, it created a vacuum elsewhere. To see the true cost of this engine's fuel, we must leave the marble behind and travel north, toward the extremes where the gilded layer begins to peel away. To understand the Gilded Age, one must witness the violent collision of two worlds that shared the same island but inhabited different universes. We begin our descent into the 5 Points, a topographical scar on the face of Lower Manhattan. Through our digital reconstruction, we have mapped the infamous intersection of Baxter, Park, and Worth Streets. If we were standing here in 1880, the first thing to hit you would be the sheer, suffocating density. This was, at the time, the most crowded square mile on the planet. The air is thick with a nauseating cocktail of stagnant water from the collect pond that once sat beneath the soil, the metallic tang of coal soot, and the unwashed proximity of thousands of human beings. By analyzing the haunting flash photography of Jacob Riis and late-century lithographs, we have recreated the old brewery, a decaying tenement where families were stacked like cordwood in rooms that never saw the sun. The textures here are visceral. Your boots would sink into a slurry of mud, horse waste, and grey water that never truly dries. You would hear a frantic, multilingual commercial hustle Italian vegetable hawkers screaming over the rattle of pushcarts, the rhythmic thud of a ragpicker's hook, and the distant, haunting melody of an Irish fiddle drifting from a cellar speakeasy. This was a place of survival, where the architecture was a chaotic patchwork of rotting timber and damp brick, held together by the sheer will of the immigrant class. Now, let us use our digital transition to travel 4 miles north, up the spine of the city to 5th Avenue, the Gold Coast. The shift is jarring. The roar of the slums evaporates into a hushed aristocratic sanctuary. Here, the mud is replaced by meticulously swept Belgian blocks. The smell of sewage is gone, replaced by the faint, elegant scent of lavender water and the expensive musk of polished mahogany. We are standing before the Petit Chateau, the limestone fortress of Alva and William Kissam Vanderbilt at 665th Avenue. Using architectural floor plans and point cloud data from surviving Gilded Age mansions, we have reconstructed this French Renaissance marvel. Notice the architecture of exclusion, the towering wrought iron gates, the intricate gargoyles that peer down at the street, and the vast, silent expanses of imported marble. While the 5 Points was a symphony of noise, this is a cathedral of silence. Inside, the walls are draped in heavy silks and gold leaf, designed to muffle the sound of the outside world. The contrast is the true soul of the video. Our AI analysis shows that a single ballroom in the Vanderbilt mansion occupied more cubic feet of space than an entire tenement block in the 5 Points. On one side of the city, the merchant class spent thousands on fancy dress balls, where guests arrived in carriages lined with fur. On the other, children slept on fire, escapes to catch a breath of air that wasn't fouled by the tenements. By juxtaposing these two datasets, we reveal a city that was physically bifurcated, a gilded mask worn over a face of desperate struggle. This wasn't just urban sprawl. It was a socio-economic canyon carved into the very bedrock of Manhattan. While the chasm between the mansions and the tenements defined the social fabric of the city, one structure rose to bridge the physical and symbolic divides of the era. If we were to look toward the East River in 1883, we would behold the eighth wonder of the world, the Brooklyn Bridge. In an era of low-slung brick and timber, its twin neo-Gothic granite towers were the tallest structures in the Western Hemisphere, true iron cathedrals that dwarfed the steeples of Trinity Church. Through our digital recreation, we have modeled the intricate web of over 14,000 miles of steel wire that suspends the roadway. By analyzing the original engineering blueprints and stereoscopic views, we've reconstructed the sensory experience of the promenade. Imagine walking on the elevated wooden slats, suspended high above the water, You would feel the bridge breathe under the weight of the wind. Hearing the eerie Aeolian hum of the wind whistling through the steel stays a sound contemporary writers called the harp of the city. Below you, the river is a churn of white water and dark hulls. But up here, the air is surprisingly clear, carrying the scent of raw lumber and the ozone of a city on the cusp of electrification. This was more than a transit route. It was a statement building that signaled the birth of the modern megalopolis. It was the first time steel, the skeleton of the future, was used for such a massive suspension project, proving that humanity could now conquer distances and weights that had once been impossible. This bridge changed the world's architectural DNA. It proved that a city could be unified, pulling the independent city of Brooklyn into the orbit of Manhattan to create the greater New York we know today. By applying point cloud data to the weathered granite of the towers, we can see the tool marks of the immigrant laborers, many from the 5 Points who died in its caissons. The Brooklyn Bridge stands as a testament to the Gilded Age paradox, a magnificent achievement of global significance, built on the backs of those who could never afford to live in the mansions it helped connect. It is the enduring mark of an era that dreamed as big as it suffered. As we pull our camera back from the swaying steel of the Brooklyn Bridge, the sepia tones of the 19th century begin to bleed away, replaced by the electric neon and sharp resolution of the modern day. Our digital ghost of New York City fades, but the blueprints remain. Through this reconstruction, we've seen that the Gilded Age was not just a period of history. It was a blueprint for the modern world. The extreme wealth of the Vanderbilts paved the way for the philanthropic and corporate structures we see today, while the desperate resilience of the 5 Points gave birth to the labor laws and social reforms that define modern urban life. By using AI to weave together fragmented lithographs, census data, and architectural cross-sections, we do more than just look at the past. We preserve the collective memory of how we built the present. This is the mission of Global Urban History Revival. We believe that history is not a static line in a textbook, but a living, breathing environment that can be recovered through technology. Every brick we digitally set and every shadow we cast helps us understand the DNA of our cities. Without these digital echoes, the stories of those who built the iron cathedrals and those who survived the slums of 5 Points would eventually vanish into the noise of the future. But our journey through time is only just beginning. There are thousands of lost streets and forgotten skylines waiting to be revived. Now, the choice is yours. We have the data and the tools. All we need is the destination. Which city should we digitally reconstruct next? Do we walk the gaslit alleys of Victorian London, navigate the canals of a vanished Tenochtitlan, or breathe life back into the marble forums of Imperial Rome? Tell us in the comments which era you want to see revived. Subscribe to join our crew of digital heritage architects. Until next time, keep looking back to see where we're going.